Let's get into game one of this best of three PVZ. Spawning in the upper left-hand corner of Gresvan, we have the Abydos Protoss player in the red. NightMare. And his bone in the lower right-hand corner for Dragon Kitesy, the 2019 World Champion. It's Dark. Getting his hatch blocked, as you do. NightMare being annoying with that probe, as you do. Yeah, last week's KSL was a wild one. We had a lot of players we don't really see that often. Especially Sue came in and just won, which was baller. Sue looked excellent. We had some really fun games, some really fun matches. This week, I think, is a little bit more normal, a little bit more like what we're used to seeing in the KSL, since a lot of these players are back from Sweden. NightMare, Dark, Gumiho, Classic, Solar, all sorts of bangers, Hero, and, you know, obviously some really sick matches. But I did like the kind of craziness of last week. I'm really glad we put one on during Jönköping. I was talking to Dave Test about it, and we had initially talked about it. We were like, well, do we want to put one on? I was definitely in favor of yes. A few people were like, I don't know, we're not going to get that many signups, you know, like people are in Sweden. But I was like, there's always going to be people who aren't, you know, at the big event. And we got everybody in who wasn't at the big event playing that week. And it ended up being really, really sick. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of Chinese players actually in there. There's a lot of players we don't see a lot that we're not seeing this week. In fact, it's almost a completely new, different set of players. There's not a lot of overlap at all. And I think it leads to some fun times. We had special building battle cruisers. Gave us a really fun week. I'm really glad we put it on. We were really worried too, because like a few hours before it started, usually there's like, I don't know, 5 to 10 signups, I'd say, a few hours before we start. But that day there was like 2. We're like, oh no, nobody's gonna sign up. I was worried. I was like, man, maybe we did do the wrong thing. Nah, dude, it ended up so sick. And I think a week like that, that's a little bit weird, a little bit off, is super fun on its own, but it also makes me more excited to come back and cast matches like this, you know? A lot of the players that we do see every single week. And NightMare's going for Glaive the Depths. We've already seen this build today, in some match earlier. I think that was our first match, actually. First game of the day, I think, was this build. Start dropping that Roach Warren down at the second base at the third base location. I don't know if he really knows what he's up against here. He hasn't really spotted too much, just kind of poking at the wall. But Glaives is almost done. The Boar Prism is on its way out. The Roach Warren is not done yet, but Tendling's on the way. Dark is surmising something is coming. Something's coming across the map. Looks like NightMare's going to try to take a third base behind this. A little bit of aggression. Yeah, I would love to get SOS in. There's a lot of players that I'd love to see play a bit more. We had Maru in a lot early on, but we haven't really seen Maru in a long time. Neither have we seen Beyond. I'd love to see both those guys come back in and play. They're very high in the point standings because of how well they did in those first few weeks, but if they don't keep going, they might get buffered out by a couple of these guys here. NightMare has the chance to go far here, but he's got to take down Dark, and that is a tough one. The Adept's going to shade in. There are some Ravagers out with these Queens. There's a lot of Lings waiting in the back, and I love this for Dark. He's not being aggressive. He's not trying to push these Adepts. He knows that NightMare wants to get some damage done, maybe even needs to get some damage done, and he's trying just to not let that happen. Mitigate any damage and punish NightMare for coming on to creep too far. And actually, now he's going to go for it as that shade goes backwards. Oh, the bile's landing on a few of those adepts as the prism picks up 4. But that was great for Dark, pushing these adepts right on back in this third base. Just started. These lings, I actually think this might be enough lings. Oh, they're not going to go for it, though. I straight up think if they clicked on the Nexus, it's dead. Canceled. Dark decides to play it safe, though. He pulls back away from those adepts. The prism comes back, drops off a few more friends here. Ling seeing if they can't poke and prod in. More gates on the way for NightMare, but no follow-up upgrades. Is NightMare just going to all in with glaive adepts here? The Lings wait for the adepts to leave, and then they come in to get that full wraparound, force that cancel, and now NightMare is in a desperate spot. He needs to push forward and get some damage done. There's Roaches out, there's Ravagers out, there's Queens, but there's 2 Immortals here for NightMare, and the Lings are nowhere to be found. They're coming in from the back, they're coming in for the flank. The Adepts are threatening to shade, but the Lings are here. The Adepts can't shade, but they do, and now, suddenly, the Immortals are fully surrounded. The Queen's gonna push this Warp Prism away. The Ravagers trading with the Adepts, just holding on to them until those Lings can come back and help out. A lot of the Adepts gonna go down before this shade finishes. 4 of them make it to the main, but there's Roaches here. There's more Lings coming out. Dark is in a great position right now. There is still the Warp Prism with these 2 Immortals that Dark really needs to pay attention to. Looks like one of those Queens might have gone down. There's still a couple here. That Prism needs to be so careful. Is there enough on the ground for Dark, though? NightMare feels like he's starting to push through as more Adepts warp, and these 2 Immortals are just crushing the Roaches out front, and the Ling count is virtually non-existent. In fact, there's no larva for Dark right now. He's desperately trying to build more Queens, because that is something that doesn't take any larva. That Queen puts down an inject and immediately dies. Drones running away to the corner here. Oh, this is a real problem for Dark. He ran out of larva. Can he get enough units? Can he muster enough units to push this back? Where is the Prism? The Prism is so far away. These Immortals get surrounded by drones. Can the drones do it? The Biles take them down with that drone surround. Okay, please kill this final Immortal. Down it goes. And without the Immortals, the Adepts just aren't that scary to these Roaches. They're scary to the drones, though. NightMare knows this. He's going to try to go for some drones. NightMare has replanted that third base. It's about halfway done. If he can kill enough drones here, he could put himself in an okay spot. Even though he lost those Immortals, this attack is pretty much completely done. He's killed 10 drones. Dark's economy is not great right now. And that third base is finishing up for NightMare, but my God, look at his supply, dude. He's just got nothing. He has 16 army supply right now. It's 5 Adepts and a Prism. And everything's just back at home. There's nothing across the map. Dark is just going to stream Roaches here. He's got a lair finished, so Roach speed is done. He's got the Spire halfway done behind this because he knows he's about to force a bunch of non-Blink Stalkers to warp in. And if those Mutas come out in a couple minutes here, it's just going to be game over for NightMare. Dark trying to get some damage done, but I actually think pulling back here is the way to go. Already a bunch of sentries were warped in. Ooh, these force fields are super, super nice for NightMare. Super Shield Battery are going to keep everything alive and juiced up. NightMare, I think, making the best out of a bad situation off the back of that one. Definitely getting some good kills on the Roaches there, not really losing much. Now he's going to warp in Stalkers, but these Stalkers do not have Blink. NightMare's economy is, I don't know, fine. It hasn't really improved in the last couple of minutes. The third base is done, but it's not really mining very much. But Dark is on 71 drones. His 4th is about to pop. Those Roaches, they were just trying to delay NightMare from getting that economy he needed. Delay that tech, so Blink is super late now as 9 Mutas are already about to pop and head across the map. Blink is not going to be done in time for that. And Dark has put himself just in a fantastic spot. I think NightMare was doing well with that attack, but the moment those Immortals died, all of a sudden it was pretty much over. NightMare knew it. He tried to get the drone kills just to make up for it, but it just wasn't enough. NightMare is going to push across the map. This might be his last chance here as the Mutas are flying around the other side. But I think if the Mutas come back and focus down that Warp Prism, this attack is just completely done. Blink's not even done yet. There's a few force fields, but there's a few Biles available. The Prism goes down, and now NightMare is just stuck out here. I think you have to recall. He's just going to keep going for it. He's going to push forward. He wants to get some damage done, but the force fields are running out. There's no reinforcements here for NightMare. The probes are going down on the other side of the map. He's just kind of leaving them for now. Warping in Stalkers to defend, but this is going to be it here. NightMare losing the army out on the map. The blinkless Stalkers just trying to get some Ravagers, but it's not enough. GG gets called, and Dark takes game number 1. Looking very strong there. It was a little shaky. But holding that attack was just it. The drones surrounding the Immortals while the Queens were in between the Immortals and the Warp Prism, so there's no chance NightMare got over there to pick those up. There's just no way those 2 Queens were going to stop that forever. And the Biles on top of the Immortals while the drones held them in place was actually just beautiful. Dark showing that even under some intense pressure, he's not going to crack. We already knew that, but he's showing us anyways. Game 2 is going to be on Ancient Cistern. We actually have a nice big map here for game 2. Should be interesting. NightMare went very hard on that attack. I don't really blame him for just trying to like get something done early on. But it's tough when you're up against such a strong opponent. See what he does in this game. Spawning in the upper right-hand corner is our blue Protoss, representing Abydos. It's NightMare. And he's up against his worst NightMare here. I mean, where do you have your nightmares if not in the dark? Like a nightmare in the dark. Yeah. Black Sabbath? Oh, it's that's Dio. Excuse me. Ronnie James Dio. Dark able to take his base. That probe not coming out to be annoying. Does NightMare have something planned? Could it be? It doesn't really look like it, though. He's just going to come spot that hatch and leave. All right. I got excited. I thought maybe he was going to try like a proxy or something. No such luck. Maybe one day we'll have maps that are really good for cannon rushes again, and we'll see some cannon rushes. I miss cannon rushes, man. That's why I was hoping we'd see some SOS. I don't know if he's still got them in there. We just never see cannon rushes these days. And I feel like it's so sad that an entire brand of strategy just doesn't exist at the pro level anymore. It's one of the only things I don't like about our current meta. And I know, everybody hates getting cannon rushed. I hate getting cannon rushed. If you've been in this stream long enough, you've seen me mauled over being cannon rushed. But the problem is, the only place it's not viable right now is at the absolute highest level. It's like the opposite of what I want. I just want cannon rushes to be really good at the high, or like decent at the high level, and really difficult to pull off at the low level. That's the ideal world.
If we lived in a perfect world, cannon rushes would only be powerful against the powerful. My cannon rushes are too powerful for you, traveler. You will die to my cannon rushes. Give me your strongest cannon rushes, potion seller.
Do you know that guy's, he wrote a screenplay for a movie that's about to come out. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the potion seller meme. It's a classic video. I love that video. It's so funny. But that dude wrote a screenplay. I just saw the trailer for the movie. I could not tell you what the movie was. But I just saw the trailer for it, and somebody pointed out that it was the same person. I was like, wow, that's amazing. Imagine making meme videos on the internet in like 2011. And then here you are 12 years later, and you're writing scripts for big movies. That's dope as hell. Living the dream for real. Speaking of dreams, NightMare killing an Overlord with a Void Ray. Void Ray first, not something I see that often these days. I'm glad it's still out there though. Not likely to be the multiple Void Ray. I do kind of miss the Void Ray meta too. Personally, as a player, that was the only time that I've actually learned a build order up to the like 8-minute mark. I had a full build ready to go with varied responses to anything the Zerg could throw at me. It was the most confident I ever felt playing this game. Was during the Void Ray meta. Oh man, good times. Now we're into the Blink Stalker meta, and I have a feeling NightMare is going to be going for some Blink Stalkers here. And there it is, Blink up on the menu. Dark going for +1 melee, pretty quick +1 melee here, but well, you know what? It's not super quick. Pretty average type. Just wants to get those early melee upgrades for the Lings and Banes. And we got Void Ray coming in, killing a drone, and leaving. All right, good job. Be interested to see how NightMare's Blink control is feeling right now. A lot of gateways on the way up. We get a lot of Blink Stalkers available in just a little while here. At the same time, Dark getting that 4th base going. Macro hatch on the way, and the oh man, almost said the hive. The lair is about 1/3 of the way done too. Not the quickest lair in the world. Dark doesn't seem super concerned with the quickness of the lair. But mostly just needs a lot of Lings out right now. Against smaller Stalker numbers, a big swarm of Lings can be very, very strong. Once the Stalker numbers get too big, though, Lings no longer can do it. The Blink Stalkers, they clump up. The Lings can't get any surface area. What is going on over here? Oh, NightMare's got a build. Oh, this is a full-on build. Okay, so all these gateways weren't just being built for looks, for shits and giggles, as they say. NightMare's going to drop a proxy gate here. Here's 2 pylons. I assume these are redundancy pylons. And he's going to bust down these rocks. Oh, I think this is also to keep the choke point closed so that the Stalkers can blink back against the Lings. This is actually really sick. Dark has 28 more Lings on the way. Banelings starting to pop, but no speed on these Banes, which means they will be slow diving into these Stalkers. NightMare pulling back on the Stalkers. Oh, but the flank! Where did those Lings come from? I don't know, and I don't think NightMare knows either. The Banelings trying to get on top of this, but the Lings get the full surround. The Stalkers will blink away, but this is such a good start for Dark. The gateway's not done yet. The Warpins are slow, and the Lings are going to get on top of these fresh Stalkers as well. Oh, man. Stalkers trying desperately to blink away, but there's just too many Zerglings, and I think Dark has already done it. He's held this push. He's killing probes on the other side of the map. There are some drones going down, but I don't know if it's enough to counteract this, the damage of losing your entire army here. The Stalkers are going to blink into the corner and just hope they can hold the Void Ray, desperately trying to help from above, but all of the Stalkers are going to die. This proxy is dead, and guys, I think NightMare is dead. Dark is just looking too damn good here. He knew what was coming, and he neutered it before it even happened, just jumping on top of that with a full surround. Was so sick that Dark already had that set up. It looked so scary for a second. I mean, NightMare can try to hold back at home, but Dark's just got so much. He's going to trade with these Lings, and in the meantime, 8 drones on the way. He's got the infestation pick coming up, +2 melee is nearly done. He's got so much back at home. He is just hurting NightMare while he's getting further and further ahead on the other side of the map. This Void Ray doing God's work with 18 kills, most of those Lings at this point. But Dark Dark's chilling. He's on 4 bases. He's got a 5th on the way. He's going to start up the hive soon. Oh, double expanding. 5th and 6th. I like this move a lot because one of the strongest things NightMare could do here is go push, force the cancel on the base, and leave. But, I mean, if there's 2 bases, that gives Dark double the chance of defending. I like this, though. Look at this. NightMare going to try to take this one down with just the Void Ray. Queens are responding, but I think this base might actually have to be canceled before these Queens push this Void away. Ooh, not quite. But now the Stalkers on the other side are going to force a cancel. The Lings are going to try to punish them for it, but the recall means most of those Stalkers get out of there. This base staying alive is now super important for Dark. I love the double expand, and we are seeing it be very useful here. NightMare trying to counterattack, get some, or Dark rather, trying to counterattack, get NightMare's base. Looks like NightMare should be able to hold on to it. Dark will get this one up, and he's retaking the one to the upper left. Charge is on the way, but I mean, we already have Bane Speed started up. It's a very late startup on Bane Speed, but there's already Banes as a potential here. So many roaches out for Dark. Jeez, he's up 50 supply. And I think if Dark gets some Banelings together and goes for a push, NightMare is going to be in a lot of trouble here. The lack of Archons is so painful right now, but he just doesn't have the gas economy for it. He's got 4 geysers, but 500 gas is not going to give him a lot of Archons once that Templar Archives finishes. Oh my god, and Charge isn't done yet. So these Lings sneak on through. They're going to see everything that's going on here. Dark morphing Banelings. Adrenal on the way. +3 melee on the way. Bane Speed nearly done. The 5th is up. The 6th is about to pop. Dark's on 83 drones. He's in a fantastic position. NightMare is going to try to push forward, but I don't even know if he beats this army right now. And Dark has a whole nother army on this side. Zealots look like they're prepared to counterattack, but they're just kind of chilling here right on creep. Dark sees them and pushes them away. And now I think Dark's going to counterattack right into the natural. Lings and Banes are here. There's Sentry has a ton of force field energy. Well, let's see if NightMare is exactly on top of it. Or if these Lings and Banes are going to bust through. Maybe they just go for the 3rd, actually. Baneling's running first. Head first into these Archons. Dark doesn't really seem to care. He's trying to get to the drone line. The Super Shield Battery is actually holding on quite nicely right now. It will finally die. Looks like these Archons might live. That was a lot of Lings and Banes going down. 33 probes have died, though, and I think that's well worth it for Dark, who can remake pretty much all of this. And he is currently doing so. A lot of Lings, a lot of Roaches on the way. Just trying to kill these Zealots as he retreats. So it's just down to the Stalkers, and then these Adrenal Lings. Now that that's finished, they are just going to put the hurt on these Stalkers. NightMare is going to keep pushing through, but he's at 43 probes right now. Dark can just give this base up. Honestly, I'm shocked he's really trying to fight for it, but he feels like he's going to go for the surround. Reinforcements coming out from the bottom, Lings and Roaches from the top, and that is going to be that. The Stalkers blink backwards, but where are they blinking to? They're blinking to nowhere because GG gets called, and Dark takes the 2-0 victory over NightMare. Looking extremely strong, extremely solid.